Last night, as I listened to music, I relaxed into my own vulnerability. I wanted what the music suggested: intimacy, tenderness, and companionship. But when I opened my eyes, I realized that no one had witnessed my yearning, and I felt unseen. We are not merely humans, but human beings. Central to our existence are the ways in which we exist and how we choose to be with each other. As a therapist, I believe it is my task to offer out to my client that fragile part of myself with which they might most easily relate. I reject the cloak of confident authority that traditional therapists wear. I must be fully present in each moment I share. Through a life of artistic practice, I have taken the parts of my psyche that had been diagnosed as illness and given them form outside of myself as art. Through my own therapy, I have come to know, respect, and integrate those parts as valuable aspects of the whole person that I have become. Art is adult play. Visual arts, music, dance, drama, and poetry provide the materials and metaphors with which one might practice the stuff of life. Through art, a client can recreate their identity and redesign their life. The expressive arts therapist allows the client to shift from one art form to another. In each intermodal transfer, personal content is processed in a new way, and narrow thinking is broadened. Words matter in our world, but they need not come first. A client who requires words to complete the process of therapy must redefine those words and choose them carefully.
Barricade past the gate, and it's there where Barbie came irate. Shut the door, Iraq's out there. Shut the door, Iraq's out there. Shut the door, Iraq's out there. The words rolled off our tongues.
Life is not theoretical. Life is. Theory may offer a frame by which one might better understand a moment, but only at the expense of losing sight of all that lies beyond the frame. The other day I heard someone say, if you're the type of person who needs love, really needs it, you're not going to be strong enough to create love. I disagree. When I signed the papers to adopt my daughter 14 years ago, it was 9/11/2001. I felt lonely and helpless in a very frightening world. I believe that if we who crave love can each decide to choose to love and to act upon that choice, it adds up. Pretty good love, if offered freely in a constant manner over many years, is more valuable than any moment of pure passion. All love is conditional. The condition is choice.
Because I love you.
A few years after he was discharged from the Army, Riley had returned to undergraduate school to become a painter. He had excellent technical skills, but he avoided all subject matter of his past. Each day in my class, Riley would paint still lifes, portraits, anything to avoid the visions that woke him each night in terror. After about a year, Riley began to trust me and his new environment, and with encouragement, he began to work with imagery that touched on the content imprinted in his mind and body. 1 year later, Riley had created a strong body of work that included scenes from his worst nightmares, though he still could not find the words to express the specifics of the trauma he had experienced in combat. I suggested to Riley that he gather 12 of the paintings that mattered most to him, and that over the next 6 months, he and I could sit for 1 hour a week and discuss each painting. Riley agreed I could record our conversations with the understanding that the final manuscript would remain confidential. Each week, Riley and I sat side by side and talked about the paintings in front of us, one at a time in the order they were created. In over 25 hours of private conversation, he and I developed intuitive protocol that enabled a former soldier to relate both the mundane and tragic details of his experience with me, a civilian art professor. My experience as a professor validated Riley's paintings for him. But more important was my role as empathic witness, which allowed Riley to give voice to his guilt without being judged. He and I shared words charged with the pathos of life and death, and the meaningful silences in between. In fall of 2015, Riley proposed that we exhibited images of the 12 paintings we had discussed, alongside with excerpts from our transcribed conversations. He invited a small group of trusted friends to a private exhibition and performance. Viewers entered the gallery and were encouraged to read the edited transcripts and bear witness to Riley's story. After 30 minutes, Riley entered the silent space. Beginning at the beginning, Riley silently read the first page of his story and pulled a thick black marker from the pocket of his jacket. He began to cross out line after line, redacting the most difficult passages printed there. He continued from panel to panel. I began from the other end and worked backwards, highlighting the passages of conversation between he and I that I most treasured. The story of each soldier is unique, and yet the themes are as old as time itself. Here in the gallery, though, these words were interwoven with other words, excerpts of our conversations about art, life, and friendship. Riley and I crossed paths at the 5th panel. The image and the words there revealed the details of Riley's greatest sadness. I stood just behind him, my hand resting gently on his shoulder, as he blackened all but a few words, and then he moved on.